everybody, it's good to see you. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk today about startup businesses. So if you're here, you probably wanted to hear about making a startup business sustainable. And you probably have started something already. Maybe you're selling a product, maybe you're doing a service. You could potentially be very good with your hands, a carpenter who can build furniture, or a bright brain that is so good at doing things on computer. Maybe you're creative and you build amazing websites. Well, it doesn't actually really matter what it is that you believe that you can sell or do. How do you make it into a sustainable business? A lot of startup businesses really struggle to make themselves sustainable and to keep going beyond a few months or a few years. So I've been mentoring small businesses for a number of years now. Myself, I'm in corporate governance. I'm a corporate governance professional for a group of companies. But I also run a small business that was the 702 and Sage Pastel Small Business Award finalist in 2015. We pride ourselves in that because at the time we'd only been in business for under a year. So what's the success for small businesses? And how do you make a small business into a bigger business later on? Well, for me, there's some key ideas I want you to think about. First of all, you must keep good records. Whether you've got carbon copy books that you write your invoices in and write your quotes in, and the good old-fashioned paperback ledgers that you write your cash book in and write your petty cash and your sales journal and your purchases journal in, so that you've got records of where is your sales coming from, where is your money going out to. It's so important to keep track because, well, if you're in business, you've got to report to SARS and to other authorities. But you also need to know for yourself. Maybe you've got a friend who invested money into your business and they want to know, hey, how much are you selling? Where's the money going? How much cash is in the bank? And if you've got records, you can show them. Nowadays, it's so easy to get an inexpensive accounting package. You can get them online. Some banks actually even offer you the free 1-year bookkeeping package online so that you can keep records for your business when you're a startup business. So there isn't really an excuse not to be keeping records. Then the next key thing is know your costing. How much is it costing you to build that cabinet? How much is it costing you to build that website? Now you might think, well, I'm a designer. How do I know how to cost if I design something? Well, think about the opportunity cost. If you were working for an employer and they were paying you an hourly rate, hourly salary, what would it cost you in the time that you're spending to do that design for a client in the same number of hours as you would be getting a salary for? So be mindful of your costs. What are all the different components that go into that plumbing job that you're doing? Or the code that you're writing for somebody. You might have to get people coming in and assisting you with writing parts of that code. What's it costing? Understand your costs. Understand how your costs fit together. Hey, it's even like, are you making a hot dog? How many Viennas were in the packet of Viennas that you bought? So what does one individual Vienna cost you? What does one individual bread roll cost you? What does the butter cost you? The tomato sauce cost you? Break it down, add it together. Now you know your cost. So you know, how much can I sell that hot dog for? it's very important because a lot of people get caught up and they think that they're selling well, but they're not even running at a profit. But think about your profits, because you want to be in business today and you want to be in business next year and for years to come, and maybe even want to grow big in your business so that you can earn a good salary, employ people, buy a house, support your children. So what is profits? Sales, less your cost that we were talking about with the hamburger and the building of the furniture, or shall I say the hot dog and the building of the furniture. And what about your overheads? What is it costing you to run your vehicle? If you're running machinery, what is it costing to run your machinery? What's your rent, the roof over your head costing you? People tend to forget that it's not just about, hey, I'm going to go and fit a plug for somebody because I've got my electrical wireman certificate now. What's it costing you to fit that plug? And can you keep fitting plugs and making a living out of it? So understand the difference between your selling, your costs, your overheads, and what money is left. Now a sore topic. And I'm going to say it's a sore topic because, years ago I had a niece who is incredibly talented at making dress jewelry, beautiful necklaces, tiaras for weddings, earrings, you name it. And her husband had become critically ill and was unable to work. So she was sitting and thinking, what can I do? And we said, well, what about your dress jewelry? Why don't you turn that into a viable business? So I gave her seed money for her business. And I made a very clear statement. I said, don't use all the money that you get from your sales. Keep some money in your business so that if you get another order, you will be able to fill that order. And so she started making her dress jewelry, and I was selling it, and I was getting orders all over, and my sisters were getting orders all over, and we were getting great orders for her. And she was making beautiful stuff that was easy to sell. And then there would come a day and I'd phone her and say, hey, can you make 10 of those and 3 of those and 5 of those? And she'd go, I'm sorry, Auntie Karen, I can't. Why? What's wrong? I don't have money to buy stock. And it was very frustrating and disheartening for me, because you don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. So for us in our business, and I used to work for a young Greek guy that had 2 or 3 small businesses, but he always took a very frugal amount of money out of each of his businesses so that he made sure that he kept money in the business so that the business could keep sustaining itself. And for even us in our own business, my husband takes a small salary. Our staff get paid their salaries, but we have a separate company bank account. Think of your company as a person that needs its own space, its own environment, its own books, its own budget, its own tools, its own equipment, its own bank account, its own money. And protect that money, and don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Protect it and respect it like it's a separate person from you. So that, I know I labored that point, but for me it's a very, very, very important point. Then communication is a third point I wanted to bring to your attention. Customers need to know, what are you doing? What is it going to cost them? When are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? When are you going to finish doing it? And of course, the most important thing, we were talking about money just now, is when do they have to pay by? And please make sure you follow your customers up if they haven't paid you. Because people are human. And some people are not necessarily trustworthy, and other customers might blatantly take advantage of you. Don't be taken advantage of. Let your customers know, I will give you the best service. I will give you the best quality. I will give you my attention. I will communicate. But when I finish the job, you will pay. Or when I finish the job, you've got 30 days to pay. Be clear in your communication. And while we're talking about communication, I always suggest put things in writing. My husband will tell me about an event that happened. Oh, and the customer loves that. But now they want me to change this and change that. And I go, hold on, love. What did you quote them on? Oh, I quoted them on 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, but now you're changing the scope of the job. Does the customer understand the change in the cost, the additional costs? Do the people in the office know what you've agreed to? So reduce it to writing. So he'll send an email to the customer letting them know these are the changes we've agreed to. That gives the client the opportunity to respond back and say, well, there's a bit of a misunderstanding. I thought I was agreeing to X, Y, Z. And then at least later, if there is a misunderstanding, or Lord forbid, you've got to take a client to court to get money paid that they duly owe you. You've got written records. And I started my working career as a credit controller. I had 1,500 small customers, some huge corporates, putting up huge steel structures for construction, and other small guys building hammock stands in their back garden. But there was one thing I learned. Communication is critical from up front all the way through until the money's in the bank. And guess what? A sale's not a sale until the money's in the bank. So communication is critical, and watching your cash is critical. Because think about the number of hours that you're going to have to spend again doing the same work for the amount of money you've lost when you've lost the full selling price of an invoice and not just the cost. Especially when you're paying transport and salaries up front. And my last closing thing is be mindful of your admin. I can promise you, in the years of my mentoring and the years of my business experience, where companies fall down the most, where they lose sight and focus, is when their admin is not good. When they can't find their records, a VAT return is due and you can't put your VAT return together because you don't have the records. The bank is looking for stuff from you, you can't give it. Maybe you've got a fantastic new opportunity and you're looking for finance from the bank. And you can't get it because you don't have the necessary records. So please, I beg you, keep good records. Make admin and good records a discipline right from the beginning of your business. And as soon as you can, get an internal sales admin support person in your office, even if it's only part-time. I remember many years ago when my children were little things, and I didn't have a lot of work experience in those days, but I used to work for a plumber in the mornings 3 days a week, and I can tell you that I myself saw the difference of what he was able to do before I joined him, and by the time I left him, how well his business was doing, because he had somebody there to answer the phone, somebody to keep records, somebody to do the invoicing for him, and he could focus on his business. And even for our small business, where my husband can go out, he can see the customers, he can do the business, he can grow the business, and his internal staff can make sure that all of the invoicing is done, the costing is done, the quotes are done, the records are kept. So if you want to run a sustainable business and you're a startup, small business now, remember the ideas that I've given you. So it's keeping good records, understanding your costs, know your profits, that is the difference between your sales, your costs and your overheads. Keep a separate bank account Protect the cash in your business. Communicate well with your customers. Collect your cash and have good sales admin support. I wish you all the best in your business. I know you can do this. You've got the skill, you've got the product, and that's why you started this business in the first place. Go for it. Stay well and be blessed.